The big guy loves having dessert on Sunday night, and I thought I would prepare something fresh and hot and different. I had pie dough already, I had apple pie filling already, and so I'm going to put together some fried apple pies for tonight. I took one of my packages of homemade dough out of the freezer, and I thought, well, what better way to be able to use up some apple pie filling than to put it right here in some dough and make cute little fried pies for dessert. And I think that's just exactly what the big guy is going to be happy about. So we're going to make him smile. And I'm going to take this dough and I'm going to cut it. It's already in a disc, and I'm actually going to leave the parchment right down here on the surface. Now what I'm going to do is get a knife. Got a knife. I'm going to first cut it in half. And then I'm going to cut it across in fourths. And then I'm going to cut the fourths into fourths. And I'm just going to keep cutting. And each one of these little discs, I'm not sure how large it'll be. I may have to actually put them in even smaller cuts. But we're going to see what we can do here. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to press it down to a little round disc so it'll be easy to roll out. I'm going to sprinkle just a tiny bit of flour around so that it will be easy to roll. And we're going to make a little pie. All right, I've got my rolling pin, and I'm just going to give it a little roll that way, and I can just keep turning. We'll roll that way. And he doesn't have to be perfectly round. He just needs to be rolled. And this one looks like he's going to be a little lopsided, but that's okay. I'm going to pull him in there and see what we can do to shape him up a little bit. And I actually had this in the refrigerator, but you know what? Even in the refrigerator, sometimes your dough will get just a little bit sticky. And that's what's happened here. So we're going to dust it a little bit. And I'm going to turn it. Give it a little roll. Turn it. It's okay if it's shaggy. That just kind of means that it's going to be good. All right. So we've got enough here to open. I didn't have a lot of pie filling. I had used some of this in our pork chops, stuffed pork chops. So I'm going to put in about a tablespoon, and I'm going to start to fold him over. And if it breaks up, you know, just pick him up and get him up there where he's supposed to be. We're going to fill him in. I don't care how it's shaped, just so long as he all goes together. And I'm actually going to almost fold him over because of the way it's come out this time. I'm going to fold it over a little bit like an egg roll and just kind of give it a little extra turn. There we go. And if it breaks, we'll work it out. Okay, so there we go. We've got our first little patty that's going to go into the pan. So I'm going to set that off to the side. Let's get one more. Put a little more flour down so that it's easy to roll. So going with what we did, let's see if we can duplicate that. Okay. And you know, it's kind of nice if you can pick him up, get him in the flour. We can do that. Start from the middle, roll your way out. Let's see how this one's going to be shaped. These are truly homemade. So that tells you that we're going to have an adventure in shapes. So I'm just going to roll this up, flip it over. Make sure the sides are closed because we don't want our filling oozing out if we can help it. Remember, kind of giving it a little egg roll look. Now I think as we roll it up, we're going to close up each of the ends. And there we go. Now, roll number 2. Now we could actually bake these. We wouldn't necessarily have to fry them. And I'm not sure which way I'm going to do it. We'll play around with that one in just a little while. Okay. Right there in the middle. And I'm going to start from the slimmer end and fold it over that end. I'm going to tuck in the ends to try to keep in our filling. There we go. And I'm going to tuck and roll. Okay. That gives us 1, 2, 3. We're going to try, I think I've got enough for at least 2 more. You'll be so excited. There we go. All right, so let's roll. And the flour on the surface. I'm going to put a little bit on my roller. Start from the middle. You can just see that butter. That's a good thing. Butter's always good. Okay. Let's take about 1. I think we'll get at least 1 more after this one. Gonna get him in. Tuck him over. Close up the end if you can. If you can't, we'll work that out. Fold it in. Like I said, they're going to be different, and that's the way you always know that they're homemade. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to push it in so I can get my dough closed. I'm going to work him. All right, pinch on the ends. Pinch, 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 pinch. Okay, that's another one. Notice they don't all look alike. That's a good thing. A little more flour. And we're going to have enough for 1 more. So we're going to put it down flat. Roll, roll. Woo. Put that in. Roll. That was some of the butter. Okay, there we go. And this is the last one. So we're going to try to get all of this in there. All of that. I'm going to take the smaller side first, flip it over. I'm going to take the ends and tuck it over. This side, then we're going to bring this side in. Like a little egg roll. There we go. Then we'll bring this side in. Kind of pinch it as you go. And I think what I'll do is to rinse my hands. Then we're going to get a fork and kind of fancy these up just a little bit. So that, yes, they're homemade, but they're going to have a little fancy edge to them. So we're going to dip our, let me get some water here. Dip dip our fork in a little bit of water. And we're just going to make some little marks, and that will also help with getting them to stay together. So that's one. We're making little designs on them. Gonna be kind of cute. The next one, we want to seal those ends. That's what we're doing, sealing the ends. So we're kind of pressing. I can see a little bit of ooze. You flip him over. Yep, he's oozing just a little bit. We'll punch and push and tuck. Okay. And I do believe I'm going to fry these. So I'm going to have to put some oil over there in the pan. Try not to open him up. And you know, I'm getting a little opening here. I'm going to take a little bit of dough and put right over that opening. There we go. That's just a little more opening than I wanted. All right, so that's another one. Ooh, he is opening. See if we can close him back up. I think we can. And this one is ready. Give him some little ridges. Close him up like you would a pie. You know how you make the little ridges on a pie? Well, that's what we're doing. All right, now we have 3 little sections that we won't use today. So I'm going to roll them up and put them back in the freezer. Let me rinse my hands, because you know clean hands is what we need. Then I'm going to get the skillet ready, and we're going to fry some pies. Well, I've taken them out of the freezer, and our oil is nice and hot, and I believe it should be very close to our 350. Let's see. Actually, it's a little bit over, but I'll just turn it down a little bit, because I want them to cook all the way through. I don't want them to burn. So let's get the first one in. There he goes. I'm going to get the second one. Now remember, these are home cooked. Now we're not going to try to get everybody in here, because it may not fit. And you can see this one kind of opened up a little bit. That's okay. I think I'm going to put the 3 in and then come back and put in the other 2. Do 3 and then 2. So we're going to let these fry, give them a flip, and then we'll be ready to go on to the next 2. Let's get into this skillet. It is just about time to flip, and they're browning quite well. I'm turning them over. That's one. I'm going to flip the second one. That's 2. Let's see how he's doing. And he's ready to turn over as well. 3. Now on the side, I've got sugar, but I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of sugar and maybe even some cinnamon sugar on top of these once they come out of the fryer. Can you see how pretty and brown they are? They're not quite ready to come out yet, but they're close, so just hold on. When you're meal planning, you always want to be able to prepare items that you might be able to get multiple uses out of. And so, in this case, we made pie crust. We made multiple batches of pie crust so that we would be able to use it at a later time. Now, we started out with the pie crust for apple pie, but heaven only knows what's going to be used with that pie crust before it's all gone. So these little hand pies are going to be delicious. Just you wait. Our hand pies are just about ready to come out. I have a plate with some paper towel that I'm going to lay them on the towel paper so they can drain just a little bit. And then I'm going to roll them in some cinnamon sugar. And I can tell you, I can see the flakiness of these pies already. So I'm going to take the last two. I'm going to put them in. There's one. Notice I'm putting them in toward the center of the skillet because that's the hottest part. Our pies here are going to drain a few minutes, and then we're going to dip them in their cinnamon and sugar. It's going to certainly be a happy fall, y'all. So I've got this plate ready. We are going to sit our plate there. I'm going to take the first pie. It's had a chance to drain. I'm going to put it in the cinnamon and sugar. I'm going to take my fingers that are clean and roll it over. And place it on the plate. I'll do the next one. They're so flaky. You can see they're just flaking off. Got number 3 down in our cinnamon and sugar. Take some of that and sprinkle it over. I'm going to flip him. And voila, he's ready to go. Hey, cinnamon sugar for the other 2. These fried pies really do bring back great memories because I can think back to when I was much, much younger, and we would always have bazaars at church on the weekend. And we'd have it, maybe once or twice a year, a fall bazaar or a fall festival. And everyone would bring something special. We had a table for cakes. We had a table for pies. We had a table for cookies and candies. And then there were all kinds of other things that that maybe people had made, crafts, that you could also buy, as well as games for everyone, adults and kiddos, to play. And it was just a lot of fun. But one year, well, in fact, after the first year, it became a regular. My mom and her friend decided that they were going to make fried pies. And most of the time you usually do the fried pies from your dried apples or your dried peaches, and they had all of that. It was ready to go. And they were fresh frying the pies right there as people would order them. So when they got it, it was nice and hot. Mwah! They could put it right in their mouth. Oh my goodness, it was a hit. And each organization was trying to raise money. At that time, we were building an addition to our church, and we wanted a new larger fellowship hall where we'd had multiple classrooms, and we had a place for the teens where they could play ping pong and do all those fun things. And so what we needed also was an updated kitchen. And so they were raising money through this particular festival in order to do that. And so each organization, there was a challenge to see who could raise the most money. And I tell you what, between the fried chicken, the fried fish, and the fried pies, my mom and her friends, or their group, they worked together, and man, they were putting the food out. They even had people who were coming that weren't even members of our church, who were coming by leaving work and grabbing plates. They had people who called in at lunchtime and wanted plates for their dinner that they could take home. So what a fun time and an opportunity to be able to do something for your ministry. So fried pies are a real good way to draw the people in and to open up their pocket. All right, we're going to flip these pies and see what they look like on the other side. I think they're about ready. You know, the stove's pretty hot. Got a little more brown than I wanted it, but that's okay. It's going to be fine. Flip this one over, and I'm going to turn it back down just a little bit. I had turned it up because it seemed like they were moving, it was moving along a little too slow. But you know what? Now I see why. Because of all the goodness that's in there, they need to cook slowly. So we're going to be patient and we're going to let them cook. Oh! Let me show you what these babies are looking like at this point. They've got their cinnamon and sugar on them. They're going to be delicious tonight. Now, thank you for joining me in the kitchen today, because it's going to be always a great time. And you know, for those of you who are new subscribers, and for those of you who have been on this journey for a long time, thank you so much. And please be sure to hit the like button, share the video, and talk about it to other people so that they will also come and visit and we can grow this channel. So I hope, as I said, that you have had a fun time today in the kitchen frying up those apple pies. So come back, because you never know what's going to go on in the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme. Have a blessed day. Mwah. Now, how about those apples?